I'm Ginger-Ketting Weller, and I'm the president of AIIAS. This is the People of AIIAS series, where we get to hear individual students' stories. Today, I'm interviewing Bohdan Koval, and tell us where you are from and what program you're in.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Ginger. I'm from Ukraine, and here I'm taking my PhD in systematic theology.
Very good. Now, as we were talking before the interview, you told me that you had not always been an Adventist. So tell us a little bit of your testimony.
Yes, I came to the church, I came to Christ at age 14, and it was due to my interest to history. One evangelist made in our town evangelical program, and he announced some topics about history, archaeology, and it was interesting for me, and we came with my mother. Father refused to attend, and it is very interesting experience. When we came there, I attended only few lectures, and then I got flu and was out for 2 weeks maybe. And when I came later, it was topics, serious Adventist topics about tithe, about Sabbath, about Second Coming. And it was amazing for me, but I left the church because I began to compare with Bible and see that it is truth. So I make decisions for a very long time. So I was not baptized after that evangelical program. It takes a half of year to see what is church, what people attend this church, what this church believe. And after a half of year was baptized I and was baptized my mother.
So the two of you from your family joined the church.
Yes.
And like a true historian, you did your study very carefully before you made the decision.
Yes, yes.
Very good, very good. Tell me about how you have come from that point now to being a PhD student in theology here at AIIAS.
It was a long path. I have a minister in the local church, and pastor saw my potential, and he proposed me to enter a bachelor program in my country. And after that, I was a pastor, and I had a dream to continue my studies, because all of us have our talents, and I saw that God gave me a memory, and I can use my memory to memorize some things and to propose it to people in an interesting way. So I was a pastor, and I dreamed to become a teacher. And I pray to God for this opportunity. And there is a seminar in my country, and there was a lack of New Testament teachers. And one day, dean of our seminary met me and proposed, Bohdan, do you know we need a teacher of Greek? Can you teach Greek? I said, yes, I can. Maybe I did not assume all responsibilities that laid on because to juxtapose pastoral ministry and teaching, it was maybe a bit boring for me, but I prayed God and I took this challenge. And then, so if you intend to be a teacher, you need further education.
Yes.
And they proposed me from Ukrainian Union conference to make further my study in Andrews University. It was a distant education. It was a branch of Andrews University, and I graduated there Master of Arts. So I juxtaposed it: pastoral ministry, teaching, and studying.
And the Master of Arts, was that in religion or
yes,
theology?
Yeah, they offer a Master of Arts in religion.
Okay.
Yes. And God know my potential, and He gave me one more work this term, and He gave me volunteering work on Hope Channel.
Hope Channel?
Yes.
In Russia or in Ukraine?
In Ukraine. We have very developed Hope Channel studio in Ukraine. And it began from so. I have a friend who is interested in history and who is chief of educational department of one conference in Ukrainian Union conference. And one day I was in the capital, and I returned by suburban train my home, and he need to go this direction. And do not agree before. We buy tickets on the on the place one near another. And he said me, Bohdan, I see that it is a God providence, and I want to present you something. I want to show you something. And he opened his laptop and he told me, I want to make a TV program based on great controversy of Ellen G. White that shows that God's people were in history during the all times. Because as we know, it was an apostolic age with the golden age of Christianity, and it was a rise of Adventists in the end of time. And there is a big gloomy gap.
Yes.
So we need to fill this gap.
Yeah.
And he proposed me some topics. Let's develop it and let's make our program. And we invent our program. We called it by the ways along the ways of Christianity, and we invite to our program different people. They even were not Adventist. We got many contacts of academics, and they can be acquainted with Adventist message through this program.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and we even have an experience that some students in one of state universities watching our program, they decided to have lessons on Bible with local pastor, and they were baptized in our country. So I praise God for this. Praise God for this opportunity.
So once again, your interest in history was put to effect as you were looking at how God has had people through all time.
Yes.
And you were bringing the local expertise, even when they weren't Seventh-day Adventists, they were able to verify this.
Yes, and you know, it's a powerful tool for missionary work when you tell your people they believe in Orthodox faith, and they believe they repeat often that it is the faith of our Father. And when you show them that your Father do not worship idols, your Father do not eat pork, your Father do not do many things, because Ukrainian Christianity, it was in some moments very close to biblical Christianity.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and when you show it, they, wow, our fathers believe in it.
So you were looking at this in the context of the history of Ukraine and saying God has had a people through time.
Yes, because
Very
we wanted to make this material available to Ukrainian people first. And it was very useful when our country in 2017 celebrated the anniversary of Reformation.
Yes.
And our programs were very popular. They even were shown on the channels, not on the non-Adventist channels.
Interesting, interesting. So you are writing this programming for Hope Channel, you're being a pastor, you're teaching Greek at the seminary. That's like 3 different lives. And so help us make that jump from there to AIIAS. What happened?
Okay, and also I was first my acquaintance with AIIAS began from Professor Felix Poniatowski. He graduated AIIAS in 2012, and he was my teacher, whom I respect very much. And he told us about such a great place as AIIAS, that people from every country can come here and educate. And it became my golden dream. You know, I was about to graduate Master of Arts program. It would be very good if I come here. And I was proposed by Ukrainian Union Conference one day. The president of conference, you know, phoned to ordinary pastor and proposed me, Bohdan, do you want to study? Yes, I want to study, definitely. So it was a long process. I was very worried because a mail with my documents came to AIIAS. We sent it on February 2019, and it came only in April 2019. So will I accepted or not? I was a bit confused. But here committee approve my acceptance, and I received a gift for my birthday. My birthday is on May 2, and exactly this day I received letter from AIIAS that you are accepted. You may come to AIIAS.
Great birthday
and
gift.
it was very stressful for me to decide, not to decide, but to make all arrangements, to make all decisions for 2 weeks to close all my business in Ukraine and move here.
Yes.
It's actually my first experience abroad.
Wow. And you've been here a little less than a year still. You haven't quite been here 1 full year yet, right?
Yes. So I thank God for these opportunities to be here.
So let me ask you, a question comes to mind. You brought your wife and your 2 children. What are your thoughts about your children coming to such a place as the Philippines, as they are coming up through the years into the school years? What happens with your kids being in this very strange environment from where they were born?
I worried for them because in our family I was only English speaker. But I understand in our country people appreciate very much when other can speak English. And I know that it will be for them a very good experience to speak, to be able to speak. And really my daughter grasped English in less than 1 year, maybe in few months. And he has such essence that I cannot acquire such essence. For my wife, it also was a challenge. We began here at AIIAS Church from lessons in primary classes.
Yes.
When we were on pastoral ministry in our country. We like to lead children ministry.
Yeah.
So here we also intend to join. And for my wife, when she became to make craft, it was first for her to explain in English how to make a craft for children.
Yes.
It is easier than to adults, that you need not so complicated words.
Yes.
But it was a challenge for her. And then she decided, I need to visit English Center. I need to study English Center.
So you've been, for your wife and your children, building English skills. And of course, it always comes more easily for the children as they interact. Yes. Very good. At AIIAS, one of the things that we do, let me back up. As you're going to AIIAS, you're preparing then to be a professor, is that correct?
Yes.
And so the expectation when you return there is that you're going to teach in Adventist higher education.
Yes, in our country we have a lack of professors, and it is important to put more efforts in education, because now we have a strategy more on evangelical programs, on social programs, and I think now in the circumstance of quarantine, these opportunities to gather big crowds of people is gradually closed.
Yes.
So I think education, it is a powerful tool for missionary work in our country that have not been used in their full value.
Okay, very good. So that's the vision going forward. One of the things that we do at AIIAS is that we prepare people for leadership. You did a lot of leadership before you even came to AIIAS. Have you seen any things as you've been here at AIIAS that are preparing you more for leadership when you return back home to do what you've been trained to do?
If we plan a program, this program should be employed for all pastors on the local churches. And I saw that not all programs that comes from above, not all programs are applying to the local church. So here at AIIAS you can choose. And it's interesting for me. You can choose what subjects can you apply. You can choose what professor can you have as your advisor. So you can build gradually your own path. And it's more responsibility to have your own vision. Not only to apply all that comes from above, and then to worry that does it not work. I have not enough people. I cannot build a team from these people. So here you choose to. You choose to apply in ministry, apply in life what you see will be a powerful tool for evangelism.
So what I'm hearing in what you say is that the leadership lesson is that leaders must allow people to choose and to develop their own gifts that God has given them. There are so many ways in which ministry can be done, and AIIAS has recognized that and shown that to you as well, that it's not a one-size-fits-all, but it's how God leads you within your gifts to do ministry and evangelism in the way that you and God and mentors develop together.
Yes, I understand we need for a different approach. We need to develop education, we need to develop media ministry, we need to develop evangelical programs, because, you know, we always use tools that works before as evangelical programs, and we think that these tools will be useful for all the time.
Yeah.
But it is not so. If time requires us to change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A very important lesson in leadership. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and for sharing your testimony. I wish you God's rich blessings as you continue to study in your program.
Thank you. Thank you.